We got pastors on it again. Pastors are on it again. Excuse me while I plug in my headphones. Listen, people. On this channel, we talk about faith, family, fatherhood, and manhood. We also give, on occasion, uh, cultural commentary from a biblical perspective. Today is no different. So, shout out to everybody that's watching, everybody that's in the live stream, and everybody that's going to be watching the replay. I greatly appreciate you guys. Now, we really got to talk about this, okay? Um, Pastor Jamal Harrison Bryant. No relation. No, one of his last names is Harrison. Don't know the man, never met the man. There's no relationship, no relation as far as I am familiar with. I don't think our families are related in any specific way. My wife would listen to to a sermon. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it. But yeah, man, we gotta talk about this because I saw the small clip of Pastor Jamal Harrison Bryant, and I had to like sit on it a couple of days and pray about it, okay? Because there's a slight bias. Me, I am not a supporter of recreational marijuana use or cannabis use or anything of that. So I don't support that. So I had to like check my own feelings about it, my own bias, and pray about it. And also as a believer, as a Christian, I had to really focus on what's going on. Sister Chelsea, glad you're here. Please hit that like button as you watch this live stream or replay. So I really wanted to sit and pray on this and really come from a hopefully a balanced perspective with not so much of my own feelings, right? But this is really it's going to be a lot about my feelings, right? And when I saw it, and we're going to have an opportunity to watch it as well, I was taken back by it. I was taken back by it. Um, you're right, sister. Uh, I grow up. Uh, says I grew up. You are in the world, not of it. Yes, we are in the world, but not of the world, right? But uh, I was a before I became a Christian, I was a weed smoker. I smoked marijuana. Um, and gosh, some of my students are going to be watching this, but please, I learned that it's not a right way to have recreation. And I gave my heart to the Lord in May of 1997, and have not touched a cigarette, weed, or any type of drug, like recreational drug or whatever, since then. And I found that um, the cloud has been lifted since then. I'm able to see things clearly, and I don't have a desire to go to outside sources, chemical sources, to make me feel good about myself, even when I'm feeling down. I go to Jesus. I go to prayer. I go to my brothers and sisters in Christ, and receive encouragement there. But in the church, there's been a discussion about should marijuana be used, or is it okay? Is it allowed? Since it's legal now in many states or some states, should the church have an issue with it? Okay. If the church doesn't have an issue with cigarette smoke, why should they have an issue with marijuana smoke? Even though churches do really have an issue with cigarette smoke, but they tend to tolerate that a little bit more than marijuana or even alcohol, right? All those things are mood changers. You don't have a cigarette for a while and you're addicted to nicotine, your mood is going to change. Just like my mood changes when I don't have coffee or caffeine. I don't drink caffeine anymore. This is decaf coffee, right? But mood changes. But let's talk about marijuana. I've been to New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, visited the church back when Eddie Long was the pastor there. Eddie Long was the pastor of New Birth Missionary Baptist Church for a number of years. New Birth Missionary Baptist Church is a mega church in Atlanta, Georgia. Huge facility, nice looking church, great, beautiful sanctuary, statues of David and uh, in their foyer. It's a very beautiful church. I had a chance to tour the church. I even stood on the pulpit on the tour. I was like, wow, this is a nice church, right? Nice church. But it was wrought with controversy. Now that Pastor Jamal Harrison Bryant is pastor of that church, it seems to be no different. Still wrought with controversy. And whenever you're preaching Jesus, you can expect to have controversy come to your door. It's going to happen. Jesus said himself that if they hate me, they're going to hate you. Okay, so you're going to have controversy. There are going to be some things that you're going to say as a believer, as a Christian, because you believe the Bible, that many people are going to say you are wrong and bigoted for that. That's something that you're going to have to, own, right? You preach the gospel, you preach in love, and you express love, hoping to draw some to Christ. But there are some things that Christians will believe that take a hard stance on, that people on the outside will say that that's hateful. But then there are these controversies that we bring upon ourselves, right? Because we don't stick to the gospel script and we go off the beaten path in order to sound cool to culture. Pastor Jamal Harrison Bryant has been habitually saying things in order to appease culture while not giving glory to Christ. Okay? Now, there are two things I had an issue with what he said. But before I go into these issues, I want you guys to have a chance to watch and listen to what he had to say if you have not had a chance to watch it yet. Here is Pastor Jamal Harrison Bryant, senior pastor of New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm looking for people that smell like weeds. No, really, is New Birth is the largest land-owning black church in America. Wow. And so my position to my deacons is, why aren't we not raising cannabis? I'll be able to bring in black males. They're able to do it legally. I'm teaching them farming.
Oh my God.
I'm helping them to enhance the ecosystem. This is the kind of conversation. So if the guy, black boy in Bankhead said, they growing weed at the church, where do I join?
Yes.
I'm looking for people that smell like weeds. No, really, is New Birth is the...
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. I'll do it again. Guys, I'm gonna get to the chats in a second. So please bombard the chats with your comments on this. Yeah. He he had talked to his deacons. First off, Missionary Baptist Church is the largest black they're the largest black church, but they had the largest landowners for a black church in America, which means that there's no other black church in America, considered black church in America, that has more land than New Birth Missionary Baptist Church. And he's figuring, why not grow cannabis on the church premises to raise and farm to draw black males? Now, here's my first issue with this. This is not my major issue, but it is my one of my issues. I think Pastor Jamal Harrison Bryant has a very low perspective of black men. Yeah, I said it. He has a very low perspective of black men. If he thinks that raising cannabis on a church and on a church ground will draw black men, it shows how poorly his thought process is about black men. Like, think about that, right? If we just have weed in the church property and grow cannabis, we'll be able to draw black men. My gosh. My gosh. Like it takes you believe Pastor Jamal Bryant. And I'm saying this like honestly, that black men are so what's the word I'm looking for? So what's the word I'm looking for? Like so low. Like black men are so small-minded. Black men are so minuscule that you would draw them to church because of weed. It's not because of your character as a pastor that's going to draw men. It's not because you are encouraging men to be leaders of their home that's going to draw men. It's not that's not the case. Growing weed will on your property will draw men, and teaching them how to farm is going to teach. Yeah, you know what will teach them how to farm? Growing crops that they can actually eat and bring home to their families. That and teach them how to. But we have to find a way to draw men to church, right? In a very like I'm like losing my mind right now because I'm watching this again. I'm like, dag, this is how he see black men. This is how he see black men drawing. And the thing is, a lot of the industries out there, right, that market toward black men market that same way. It's predatory. It's predatory, right? It's a harsh word, but hear me out. We tend to market things in order to make money to black men, things that are is going to make them more hurt, going to hurt them more in society, and instead of lift them up. How is it a positive thing to sell cannabis on church property just so that you can draw black men to church, as if all black men are only concerned about smoking weed? And what if you get these black men in the church and they still smoking weed? What then? Like, I don't know if you thought this through, Pastor Jamal Harrison Bryant. I'm not even sure if you're going to watch this video. But what then? What then? All right. Like, how is that going to affect everybody else? First off, weed don't smell good. I don't care what you guys say, all you weed smokers. I love you. I know some of you guys. I love you. I don't agree with what you're doing, right? But it don't smell good. It don't. Okay. You think that weed is going to draw black men, but it's going to really shun everybody else away. And what's in most cases, these weed smoking men are not going to be paying tithes, and all those big tithers you got. Let's call it a buck. Let's be real. We'll be leaving the church. Okay, it's not going to benefit you. And black men are not stupid. We're not horses that you can dangle carrots in front of in order for us to do what you want us to do. We're not. We're not sheep. There are intelligent, strong black men, even some that may be weed smokers, but nonetheless, right? They're not coming to church because you are growing cannabis on it. As in the word, as in the soundbite of my boy Ruslan, that's goofy. That's goofy. Selling weed is not going to draw black men. Growing weed is not going to draw black men. It'll make your church a target, especially in a state where marijuana is still illegal. It'll make your church a target. It'll make people unsafe. It's not going to be a positive for the body of Christ at the church. And now, here's my major issue with this. Growing weed on a church property in hopes to draw black men is taking away from the power of the gospel, as if the gospel needs help. As if the sacrifice of Christ on the cross was not enough. The acceptance of that is not enough. Oh no, but if you have weed, you can draw them in and then tell them about Christ. No. If he be lifted up, God will draw all men. Not if you grow cannabis on your church property. But we got to be cool for culture. We got to have these little sound bites to show that we're relevant in culture. Like, I know I'm down. I'm down, guys. I'm down. I'd rather be around men that smell like weed. I talk to my deacons because we're the largest black landowners, church landowners in America. Why can't we have an area on the property where we grow cannabis? It'll draw black men. Like, we are not sheep. Weed's not going to draw black men to church. Beautiful women don't even draw black men to church. And beautiful women is all black men want, right? Come on. Guys, this is ridiculous. Ridiculous for a pastor. And he's not just like a young pastor. He's a pastor that's been pastoring well over 20 years. Well over 20 years. He has experience pastoring, all right? Has experience pastoring. And if we get to the point where the gospel is not enough, then we have failed the gospel. Our calling is not about preaching the gospel of Christ. Our calling is just being relevant in culture. Now, there's some things in the culture that we need to address. Okay, but the reason why we address it is because we have a gospel focused mindset, and we understand that the gospel can change things. So if I address something about culture, I address it because I know the gospel has the power to change it. The gospel and marijuana, mm, the gospel has the power to change society. We don't need society and culture to come in and make the gospel attractive. We don't need it. So for us to think that weed is going to be a drawer of black men into church is a huge mistake. A huge mistake. I remember Jamal Harrison Bryant when I was in my like 20s watching him preach, and I was like, wow, that's a powerful young man of God. And I'm not here to talk about his life and his indiscretions, because it's been highlighted all over for the past 20 years. But I can only speak to what he said here. First, stop looking at black men that way. Black men are not monolithic, and we're not just you know brainless weed smokers that would, like zombies, smell weed in the air and then be drawn to it. That's not what we are. We're not sheep. We're not horses that you need to dangle carrots in front of, or rabbits or whatever. We're not that. And two, the gospel is enough. We don't need anything. And I say this. I appreciate all the many genres of music that promote Christ. But even in that, we don't need like rap music to enhance the power of the gospel. The power of the gospel enhance rap music. We don't need um uh you know eclectic preachers to enhance the power of the gospel. The power of the gospel enhances eclectic preachers, music, whatever it is that we do. Whatever it is that we do. The gospel of Christ allows us to be more effective employees. The gospel of Christ allows us to be more loving and effective fathers and parents and husbands and wives. None of that thing that we do makes the power of the gospel any more stronger than it already is. And we don't need pastors to be out there selling weed in order for us to be going to church and draw us in. It's a ridiculous concept. If the gospel is not enough at a church, I'm not saying not doing things genre based and cultural based to get people to enjoy themselves in the gospel, in the presence of their brothers and sisters in Christ. What I am saying is, if you think weed is going to be the answer to draw black men to church, you're sorely mistaken. And you have a very poor view of black men and a disrespect for the gospel of Jesus Christ. And not only that, like people just won't respect you. Like who's respecting a pastor that's saying, "Hey, come to church for weed?" Like I heard on Roofline, it's like youth pastors, right, having pizza every Friday because they want teens to come to church, because teens will come to church for pizza, right? They'll come to church for pizza. So black men will come to church if there's weed there. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I see you guys in the comments. I see you guys in the comments. Let me get some of these up here. All right. Here we have be scrolling up. Greetings, brother Andre, and everyone watching. Yes, yes. Thank you so much for being here, brother Chavis. Blessing. Weed is an easy access to the spirit realm illegally. Folks can easily be plagued by demons through the drug addiction, including Mary Jane. It's also a gateway drug. So people tend to start off there and then go into harder drugs. I know this because I used to smoke a lot of weed before I was saved. I was high before I tried to delete myself. I heard demons talking clearly while I was high before, and I tried to delete myself. And there's some um, really bad laced uh, drugs out there that people got to be careful of. So I'm thankful that you didn't delete yourself, brother. No way should weed or any compromise be allowed in the house of God. Preach. Jamal Bryant has shown himself to be part of the Paragamas, Diatra, later, all those bad churches, all the bad churches, all right? A whole hot mess. I agree. Yep, not preaching the gospel, but preaching Mary Jane. He's all over the chat. And if I be lifted up from the earth, I will draw all men unto me. John 12:32. If we'd be lifted up, I will raise my membership and bank account, Pastor Jamal Bryant. Listen, wanted black pastors who pledge the secret societies that teach sound doctrine. Listen, if the word doesn't draw me, weed sure won't. What's next? Having the mothers of the church dropping like it's lukewarm. Now, here's the thing, right? And I think what are you looking to raise in your church? Are you looking to raise a church of strong, family-minded, godly men? Is that the goal? Then growing cannabis on your church property and teaching them how to farm that instead of farming actual food that can bring to their families won't really help, will it? Oh, but it can sell it illegally in the state of Georgia. In all seriousness, it's wild. It absolutely is. Whatever draws them is the only thing that's going to keep them. That's a bar. That's a bar. What's going on, Berean babes? We're talking about this Pastor Jamal Bryant thing. But Joseph, that's a bar right there. Whatever draws them is the only thing that's going to keep them. If Christ isn't at the center of your church, right, then you're going to have to keep doing the very thing that you drew them in the first place, right? Like if they come for a Sunday service, that's one thing. We do that all the time. We do that all the time. And I'm gonna be honest, as a youth pastor, I was a youth pastor full time for 10 years. And I struggle with that. I struggle with that because we tend to get very gimmicky in our presentation of church culture and Christian culture and even the gospel. And we even have these like youth retreats, right? Which I appreciate. I got saved at a youth retreat. But we have these youth retreats with smoke machines and lights and it's just all over the place. And we're in the presence of all this excitement and we give our heart to Jesus. But when we get back, we're going back to our churches that got like 30 people in it. And it's not as exciting as the weekend I just had after I got saved. Then what? I'm not no longer into this church. I want more. I want more than I want what I had there. And it's not realistic. If the gospel can't be, and again, this is why I think a lot of people tend to deconstruct their faith is because they've been filled with so much fluff that they never really receive the gospel. After they deconstruct, the gospel is not at the center, and they leave the faith. They leave the faith. The gospel has to be at the center, not cannabis, not hemp, not weed. It has to be the gospel, right? Yeah, yeah. The worst part of the Jamal Bryant interview was him saying at the end that Moses was a Kappa Alpha Psi. This game. That's what I'm talking about. You're trying to be so relevant to culture that you miss it altogether. You're trying to tickle ears with every wind of doctrine. And here's a problem people are going to believe that. People are going to believe that. That's insane. That's insane. And it's scary. It's scary. I don't know what to do with this kind of information, be honest with you. Pastors believing that they need to do outside things, worldly things, in order for there to be an effectiveness in the gospel of Christ. And it's not simply preaching it, simply preaching the gospel, giving Romans 10:9. The problem is you're trying to draw men to the church. Christ is trying to draw men into himself. Not every church have Christians in it. And that's a sad but real reality. Not every church. Now, I'm not saying that, or I'll say this, not every church has Christians leading it. There are people that attend New Birth Missionary Baptist Church that I'm sure are strong believers. They really genuinely love Jesus and they want to live for Him. But when you have a pastor that will be willing to cheapen the effectiveness of the gospel as if it's not the only thing that's needed in drawing people to Christ, and going as far as to promote weed and cannabis to the community to draw black men, as if black men is that we're only drawn by that, is a problem. It's a problem. That means that the church in Atlanta has lost its flavor. That means that it's good for nothing but to be trampled on because the salt, the gospel that they should have been preaching, has lost its flavor. It's crazy. Yes, he wants to be cool, sis. And the problem, he just looked like it made him look like a hypocrite. This is bananas. We're accepting to sell out to the masses that you're willing to compromise your faith and the faith of others. Yes, holiness is still real. 100% agree. All right, thank you so much for joining the chat, Andrew. Don't fall for it. Being used by Lucifer himself. Yes, facts. Everyone trying to fit in. Absolutely. Everyone is trying to fit in. And again, like we're called to live to a higher standard. Every Christian, right? We're called to be the light of the earth, right? And our mission is to draw men and women out of the darkness into his marvelous light. But instead, we want to go into the darkness, light up a spliff, right? Spark up a cipher and puff puff give, right? Come on, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I'm hoping that he'll see the error of his ways and will repent from it. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but besides the weed thing, Jamal is not a solid preacher. He supports abortion among other things. He needs to really focus on what it means to be a pastor and not trying to be a cultural icon because he's turned into that. But it's not always a good thing. It's not always a good thing. So I don't know. I don't know. Coffee's getting to me. Decaf, because no more things that will alter my mood. I got a bad headache after not drinking coffee for like 2 days. I had to like sort of wean myself off of it. It's crazy, crazy, guys. But listen, thank you guys so much for wait. Hold up. I was listening to Bishop Wooden, who spoke against Jamal's mess. He said, "Yo, Bishop Wooden is on fire." He said that we may be seeing Jamal going into a reprobate mind. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yep. Jamal needs to go ahead and step down and go live the life he wants to live and stop confusing the people who are following him. And that's a problem. He doesn't have any other skills outside of this unless he becomes a motivational speaker. And at that point, he'll have to just build a new audience. Where being a pastor of a megachurch can be a pretty easy gig if it's already established and not you building it. So, and hopefully he has a board who can call him to task about this. Because first, marijuana use outside of medicinal purposes is illegal in the state of Georgia. So even if he wants to say, hey, it's legal now, right? What if it gets legalized? It's legal now. Just because it's legal doesn't make it necessarily moral or even ethical. Imagine a nonprofit organization like a church that should be providing and being of service to the community, selling weed to the community that it's supposed to be serving. And if you've gone to those areas near the church and in Atlanta, there's some communities that are broken down that those people still go to that church and pay all their money to. And the church does very little for the community. And here's my perspective of it. If the church uh, is not operating within uh, the means that is received from the people, then they're not operating in an ethical, morally, or spiritual fashion. If they keep having to ask people for more money, they're not operating with integrity with their finances. They're not. If the goal is to get your people to pay 10% and they pay their 10%, let's say that, right? They pay 10% of their tithe, and you're still asking for more, there's an issue there. If people want to give more, by all means, let them. But if you keep saying, give out of the abundance of your heart, give you 10% and give extra and keep pushing that, because you have expenses of the church, that's an issue that really needs to be addressed in the church that you attend, and you could be the one to bring it up. Jamal Bryant could team up with Eric Jackson. They could call themselves preaching and pimping, preaching and pimping. Yeah, yep. I wonder if he was one of the pastors that he went to for counsel. He went to a couple of pastors when he first got caught out there. But guys, I need to go because it's late. I want to go and get ready for bed, wake up for work tomorrow. But guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Uh, I really appreciate it. And guys, I think we should pray for New Birth Missionary Baptist Church. Pray for their leadership because as somebody said in the chat today, this is a hot mess. All right, like they want holy smoke up in that church, and not the kind of smoke that they'd be doing in the Catholic Church. It's the kind of smoke that they'd be doing, in the big park around the corner from Pookie's house. That's what they want. But guys, uh, let's not fall for it. Thank you guys so much for watching this live stream or catching the replay. This is not one of those things that I'm over here like trying to beat down Pastor Jamal Harrison Bryant. But we got to understand that when things go public like this, as Christians, we are called to speak against certain things, right? To mark those that cause division in this church. And this is one of those things that is divisive. It does not, it pulls away from the power of the gospel. The gospel is all we need. It has power within itself. Now, there's some certain causes that you can fight for, right? And the gospel can motivate you to fight for it, but the gospel does not need help in its effectiveness. Preach the gospel. That's it. Preach Jesus Christ crucified and resurrected, and that's it. That's all we need for us to be effective as the body of Christ. And because we have failed in that, we see that our salt has not been producing the flavor that it should be. All right. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the like button if you have not done so. And if you have not joined the Harrison Extended family, do so by hitting the like button. Hitting the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification next to it. I don't know if the bell notification matters, but please hit it anyway. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by hitting the join button down below or by going to Harrison Family patreon.com/Harrison Family Values. And there you can support the channel through one of our inexpensive tiers. And you can also pick up merch. Merch will help support the channel as well. I'm trying to do bigger and better things in 2023. And my Harrison Extended family can help me get that done. All right. So with that being said, until the next upload, live stream, I love you all. I'm out. Peace.